Hi everyone, I'm Shreya, a co-team member of Zifcare, and today we are going to be interviewing a remedial teacher. So, welcome.
Thank you.
So, let me tell you a little about Zifcare before we start the interview. So,
Yeah.
Zifcare is basically it's a self-development app. It's about mental health, and I create content there. So, content like there's podcasts, there's meditations, there's articles, there's blogs, everything that helps self-help basically. So, that's what it is about. So let's start the interview. So could you tell us a little about yourself, not work wise, just personality and personal life wise. Tell us a little about yourself.
Okay. So my name is Bhageshri. I'm 25. I live in Chembur. And about me, I would say I'm very empathetic and I had keen interest in psychology since very young age. So that is why I work as a remedial teacher currently. Um, More about me, I would say I like sketching and all those things. You can see few of them behind. So I'm very creative and artistic, and um, also very keen to knowing people. You know, getting to know people with work wise or on personal level, it interests me a lot, and I love animals also a lot. Yeah, so that's about me.
Right. Okay. Think it's so. You had written that as I was going through your profile also on LinkedIn that you are really interested in psychology. So, what made you get interested in psychology in the first place?
I think somewhat of it is a bit personal. Like I was in seventh grade when I got first recommended to a therapist while I was at school. Because my sister used to get bullied. She had some behavior concerns. So because of her, even I had to visit a therapist. And my experience with her was something got me interested. Like, what is this the person does? So at that level, I didn't knew that she's a counselor. She studies psychology or something like that. But that memory stayed with me. And eventually, when I came to college, actually my junior college I've done from commerce because I had no idea about psychology and all these things before. And one of my uh, friend was studying art, so I was going through her books because reading is also something I like a lot. So I would just randomly pick up any book and start reading, you know. So I came across a psychology book, and that is what fascinated me a lot. That this book is so interesting. So then I inquired more about her, and she told me that this is subject called as psychology. In this, you can, become a counselor. This is what all you do. She gave me an explanation of psychology and opportunities available through that. So then after 12th, I shifted to arts to pursue psychology. So I think it's more of personal, and also over time, I think, like I said, I am empathetic since start. My curiosity, my interest to know about people, to understand them is something that also got me towards psychology, I would say.
Okay. I think that's a pretty great reason, and honestly, nothing is right or wrong. I think you had your reasons, and I think that's a pretty great reason for you to get it also because you had an experience because you went for therapy at such
Yeah.
a young age. So you got it from that age when you understood what psychology is because it takes people so many years to understand about psychology. Till such great lengths people go, and you understood at such a young age. So I think that's pretty great. So, one question which I want you to, just explain to the people who are going to be listening to this is so you are a remedial teacher. So, what exactly does that mean? Could you just explain your occupation to us a little?
Okay, so I'll explain a bit about my background first. So I completed my graduation in psychology and sociology, co-major, double major. Okay, so after that I had a hard time getting into masters as full time, to pursue psychology full time. I enrolled myself for diploma in school counseling with SNDT College, and also I wanted to get some experience. So I got an opportunity working with Starlet Ability Enhancement Services. So basically, it's a company. They provide shadow and remedial teachers for special children. Okay, so remedial teacher or a shadow teacher for that matter. is someone who guides the child, a special child, going to a normal school. It's challenging for a special child, adjusting to the school environment, to his classmates who are bit different from him. I mean, the needs of a special child is different from a regular school-going child. So they have difficulty coping with the environment. So as a remedial teacher or shadow teacher, what we try to do is we make not only the academic but the social part, the behavioral part easy for children. Okay. So ultimate aim is to make the child independent in the long run. So that when the child grows, go to a secondary grade or a higher secondary grade, for that matter, leaves school, goes to a college, the child should be able to function on his own without the support of people around him. So that is what a shadow teacher or remedial teacher does. Okay, so my job with Starlit was to understand the child, what the concerns are, formulate goals for them on monthly basis, and whatever the goals are, based on that, formulate intervention plans on weekly basis and execute that with the child in a classroom setup.
Okay, I think that sounds really interesting, honestly, and that's such a noble thought that you have for doing this. So I mean, I just kudos to you for doing that, because this is a really no, this is really interesting also. So your occupation is really intriguing right now. So yeah, let's jump to the next question. I genuinely wanted to ask you this. So when I was reading in your description, you said that you want to, since you already told me you're so much into art, into sketching, you have such a creative mind, and like you said, you want at some point of time you want to include art with psychology. You want to find some connection. So could you explain to me a little? What kind of connection? What kind of mixture combination do you want in art and psychology together?
Okay, you might be aware that nowadays art therapy and all this is, catching a lot with people. So, um, with what I try to do with clients is, there are certain children who do not, are not comfortable with the traditional ways of teaching and understanding and all those things. So, whatever hobbies we have, we try to inculcate that with working with a child. So for me, I am good with drawing, painting, sketching, and all those things. So we try to make the child comfortable using these strategies. So instead of teaching numbers through a traditional method on a board or by blocks or something like that, what we try to do is we take crayons or colors and we try to teach numbers through that way.
All
So
right.
this is very simple thing. It can even be complex. So like mandala making, we know that mandala making is very good when it comes to managing anxiety or stress or anger. So that is how the art can be included when it comes to psychology. I know of a colleague who was very good with singing. So what she used to do is whatever concept she wants to explain to the child, she used to convert that into a poem and then teach the child. So the child, caught up really fast. Um, One thing I tried with my client was my client had difficulty with fine motor skills. Okay, so what I did was I started teaching her piano. So it's not that even I know piano, but I used to do a background work, homework, like what basics of piano I can learn myself and teach her, and then I used to start doing that. So by the end of 2 or 3 months, she was able to play hot cross bun, twinkle twinkle little star, such rhymes on piano, which improved her motor skills. So this is how we try and understand the concerns and then try to inculcate whatever skills we have to improve the child's performance. So this is how a few examples of how I have used art with my clients before.
Okay. I think, like I said before, also, this sounds really interesting. And I feel like, everybody who's listening will also understand. A lot of people don't know this, even art therapy for that matter. Since you are in this field, I am also in this field. So we know about all this. But I think that, with what you are explaining right now with your field also, I think you've just, I think given exposure to people that there is art also in therapy, in therapy, in psychology. You can include not just art, but there's music, there's all kinds of creative things are also there. So I think this is really good that you told this to people. So at least there is a little more awareness than there was before. So just and this question next question is only for the pandemic. So in the last 1.5 years, whenever if you were teaching, so when you're when these children who you were teaching, they came up to you with problems, even they were not understanding what's happening to them, and they were also getting adjusted, as were we. So what the problems which they came up with, what did you tell them? What was that, that motivating line, that thing to inspire them, that no, you have to keep going? What did you tell them?
Okay. So first thing, children I work with are very diverse with when it comes to age. Okay, I have had experience with a child who is 6 year old, and I currently am working with a child who is 14, 16-year-old. So when it comes to explaining these children about such critical matters, it's very different because you cannot say things that you are telling a 6 year old to a 16-year-old because the mindset is very different. Also, I had to be aware of what their parents have been telling them. Because if I explain something different and if parents are telling them something different, then that becomes conflicting for the child. It creates confusion in their head. Whom should I listen to? What should I accept? Basically, so I had to be in touch with parents to know how they are making that it easier for them to explain it to their child. After knowing what phase they are in, with a 6 year old, I simply said, that child was very, the 6 year old child, she was having global development delay. So, as per her age, she used to lack a bit. So, if she's 6 year old, her functioning was equal to a 4 year old, you know. So for her, very simple terms I had to use, like she used to understand good behavior, bad behavior concept. Okay, so I used to tell her that there is something, some insect that has come out, who always shows bad behavior, and he's troubling people everywhere. So with a child who is as young, to try to frame that situation into a story, because stories are very much appealing to children. And that is how I explained her. So I used to tell her, you used to go to gardens, you used to go to school. Now you cannot do that, but you can still meet your friends. The only difference will be that instead of meeting them in the class, you have to meet them on screen. So the way you watch YouTube videos, you will be watching your friends similar to that, like just like YouTube videos. So like how Chota Bheem show comes up to a show and he tells you a story. So now your friends will be sharing their stories to the videos you will be watching on screen. So that the child caught that pretty well, and it was fine for her. At times it used to get annoying for her because she was not able to go to gardens, but then we try to replace that with online games and activities which we can take on screen. With a 16-year-old child, the explanation was very much different. So with her, I used a concept called as circle of control. So there is chart available on Pinterest if you go and check. So in that they explain there are things which are in our control, there are things which are not in our control. So first I explained her what these concepts, asked her to list down things which she can control and which she cannot control. So she naturally understood that pandemic is something beyond our control. So now that you understand it's not in your control, what is the next thing you can do? If it is not in your control and if you are getting upset about it, is it going to help you? No. So what can you do? What is the best thing you can do if things are not in our control? Try to engage in activities which are there in your control. So that is how I explained her also, and then eventually when she does at times complain about pandemic still going on because she misses me visiting her home and doing activities, because one to one I used to go and visit her home and do activities with her. So that is how I explained her that activities are quite different than what we do online. Whoever you are working with, be it a child or adult, what is important is being honest with them and keeping the communication open. Because you know, uh, just for temporary comfort, just so that the child stops, whatever the child is feeling, child stops with that. and just for the sake of some moments, if you explain the child something that is not true, is not going to help. So whoever the person is, it's absolutely necessary to be honest and communicate as per their understanding. So I think that is what helps when you talk to people, I feel.
Right. Yeah, I don't want to add this here. I wish we all had teachers like you in our school because we really needed teachers like these. Remedial teachers in school, honestly, because this is so important. And I mean, if I would have had a teacher like you, it would have been so much more fun in school because all you have is like maths teachers, science teachers, English, and all those bio, science, chemistry, all those teachers. So, I mean, I think everybody needs this. And I think it's pretty great what you're doing. I just can't get over how great this is, how selfless this is, because more because in the pandemic, because I feel like everybody was adjusting to the new life of the pandemic, and you were taking care of other children also, trying to help them out, trying to get them also adjusted, and I feel like that's pretty great, and that's honestly very selfless, and that's why this is such a good field to come in. You just, it's so satisfying to see that you're helping someone else also, that you're helping yourself and someone else. So I think it's pretty great. And I don't want to take up more of your time because anyway everybody's having very bad net issues. I'll just ask you one last question. So, what would be your one advice? Just like one or two questions actually. Second last question. What would be your advice to people, not children, but just generally, people who are going through mental health issues right now, who've had maybe, like everybody has ups and downs. So somebody's going through a low phase and, they need to be pulled back up. What would be that one advice you would give them?
So I would just say if someone comes up to you with their problems, or if they are going through a rough patch, the best you can do is to simply listen without giving them any advice or suggestions or anything. Because there are certain people who are much aware. Just by speaking things out, they get the realization what changes they need to do. Worst case scenario, if someone is not that aware of what they are going through, and it becomes difficult for them to come out through that, the best thing is to talk. It's talking, I think, as simple as it sounds, is very thing to do. Approaching a stranger or a therapist or any person for that matter, even a friend, and going up to the person and talking things out, I think it's very difficult because you have the fear of being judged. I would just say have realization that each one of us does have some or the other problem. Even the therapists, the counselors who are in this field, who study psychology, who understand everything, themselves too have experiences that are difficult. But then, just going and talking to someone, opening up, taking that first step is very much important. Once you take that first step, I think the path ahead, goes, opens up.
But
I mean,
thank you so much for coming and sharing your story, because I think your story has been really motivational, and everybody who's going to listen to this is going to get really inspired. And I'm not kidding, it is really inspiring because I got really motivated by what you're saying. And thank you so much, because it's really personal also, like you said, your story, and you still came and like shared it with us, and I think that means a lot to us and the team I'm representing. So thank you so much for doing that. It means a lot that you came and shared your story with us.
yeah, thank you also for connecting and for your high praises and kind words and being patient through this glitches in
Yeah. Thank you.